Welcome to Straight Talk and Retirement. Your no-hype source for financial advice and making informed choices about your retirement planning. Get on the phone to talk today at 314-931-5877 or text your question to 84126.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Now, here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, hello, St. Louis, and welcome to Straight Talk on Retirement. You're live and local, St. Louis's favorite financial call-in show. I'm Jeff Lapidus, president of JBL Financial Services. Our offices are located in beautiful, sunny downtown Olivet, Missouri. I am a 40-plus year veteran of the financial services area, a fee-based financial planner and wealth manager. And I'm joined this week and every single week by the A-team, my crew. My oldest prodigal daughter, Aaron Lapidus, who is a fee-based financial planner and wealth manager, and Robert Markham, our life and annuity insurance specialist.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
We help our clients make smart choices about their money. The way we do that is by designing a game plan, a written step-by-step strategy, a real game plan that has several goals in mind.
First is to preserve, protect, and prudently grow the assets our clients have taken their entire lifetimes to accumulate. Second is to deliver a reliable stream of income, one that they can count on, so they can do all the things they like to do during retirement.
And third is cost-effectively addressing their health care needs, like helping individuals enroll in Medicare and choosing the right plan to couple with their Medicare coverage.
And then when they're done enjoying their assets during their lifetime, we show them how to pass them on to the people they love, whether it's their spouses or children, grandchildren, churches, or charities, whoever it might be, with Uncle Sam or the tax courts taking a big bite out of their money. And as their wealth managers, Aaron and I watch their money every single day to make sure they're staying on track. And that's why they call us retirement coaches. Well, again, gang, good morning. Welcome to everybody out in Radio Land. It's so much fun because it's Saturday.
That it is.
2 hours of fun. We get to join with you, and you know that we're live and local. We'd love to hear from you. Our phone lines are open, 931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. And for those folks that may be our newer listeners, all of our clients are folks that are just like you. They're our listeners. They're 55 and older. They would like to retire, or they're already retired. And as Aaron said, we do create a game plan for them that have the goals of creating a fun, financially secure, and hopefully worry-free retirement. That's what it's all about. Mostly the fun part, though, right?
Always the fun part.
And the markets were we had a little fun in the markets this week.
Indeed.
It was the good, the bad, the ugly, and then the good again. So, and markets
dreams of Fed pivots.
Yes, ended up about 5% this week, which is nice. Is it sustainable? Will it be sustainable? Are we out of the woods? I don't think so.
Hard to say.
Time will tell.
Right, time will tell. The bond market says no.
I still don't think so.
Well, the bond market says no.
Okay, so, folks, nobody knows what the future is going to be, but what's important is being invested, staying invested, keeping putting money into your retirement accounts, which is good. We know that the
Based
IRS...
on your risk tolerance.
Yes, and we know that the IRS has recently come out with their new tax tables for 2023.
This is exciting stuff.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, we're not going to give numbers. That's not very exciting. But I will tell you that last weekend, when it was too cold for me to play golf Sunday morning, I was driving out, as I usually do on Steeler Football Sunday. I had to go to the deli because I had to feed my children. That's what you do. You go buy deli food. And on the way while I was out, I happened to listen to another radio show. I'm a listener too. And I listened to a diatribe, as I'm going to call it, about how people pay more taxes in retirement.
This is one of your hills to die on, we know.
I hate that. And,
I hate that.
well, no, I mean, that's why we call our show Straight Talk on Retirement, because we give it straight to people. There's no reason to candy coat it. And at the end of the day, all I can tell you is virtually everyone that we work with,
even people with pensions,
pay less, but never more in retirement.
And rarely equal.
And rarely equal in retirement. So let me give you an example, one I'm sure that you can hopefully relate to.
Bob and Sally are back.
Yeah, our cousins, Bob and Sally. Bob and Sally have an annual income during their working years of $120,000. Their net paychecks after their care contributions, retirement plan contributions, et cetera, is approximately, they go from $10,000 a month to $6,000 a month.
Right, because that's the net.
The net. So I'm not talking out of school here, folks, right? You can go look at your paychecks and say, hey, what was the gross?
Well, you know
net?
what you were offered when you were first hired. And
I mean, what happens is...
You know what you get in your bank account.
Well, also you're withholding Social Security tax, you're withholding...
FICA.
Et cetera, which none of this stuff exists when you're retired. So what happens is that you're going to look and go, oh, yeah, Jeff, you're right. I'm taking home about 60% of my net pay. Well, under the 2023 federal income tax brackets for married people filing jointly, if you earned $120,000, your tax bill, forgetting about
percentages,
itemized deductions, whether you do or not, etc., is $14,814.
So 12.3%.
Woo-hoo! Big number. But let's take Bob and Sally, our cousins, and they say, okay, Jeff and Aaron, I need $6,000 a month net, just like I had before. And therefore that computes to $7,000 a month gross.
Right, because we're going to gross it up by, 20% for taxes.
Exactly. Bob and Sally would be paying, and this is important, I'm going to point this one out. On the first $22,000 of taxable income, they will pay $0.
Because most people think of the very last dollar they earn, especially when they're working, as what their tax rate is. But we have a progressive tax system, so you start at 0, and in Bob and Sally's case, up to $22,000, there are no taxes on that money.
That's right. On the next $62,000 of income, they're going to pay 12%, which is equal to
$7,440.
So if you take $7,440, which is their total tax liability, you divide that by 84,000, you get 8%. Hello,
So
8% versus 12.3%, 8,400 versus 13,000, 14,000.
Also, this assumes that 100% of the money in retirement is going to be taxable to them.
Which it would not necessarily be if some of this is Social Security income.
Right. So partially, if Social Security income is not 100% taxable, at most it's 85% taxable at your tax rate. So that means you get 15% off the top of your total Social Security benefit. But also, one of the nice things in retirement is if you have the ability, you can control your tax bracket through where you're taking distributions from. When you're working, so when Bob and Sally were earning $120,000, there's not much to do except for, like you said, Dad, some itemized deductions here and there, things like that, but because it's wages. But in retirement, you either have ordinary income coming from your retirement plans, or if you've happened to amass some money outside of your retirement plans in after-tax accounts and savings accounts, you might be able to continue not only to regulate your ongoing tax bracket, but let's say Bob and Sally needed a little extra money one year because they want to take the grandkids on vacation, they want to buy a new car, they want to put a down payment on something. They won't have to impact their ongoing tax bracket because they can pull from places that are after-tax dollars. While you're working, you don't have that same luxury.
Right. So let's take that example, what you were saying, honey, about Social Security. Let's assume for fun here that Bob and Sally's $84,000 a year income. Of that, let's just assume for fun that $44,000, about $4,000 a month, between him and her, were Social Security benefits. Well, 15% of that not being taxable is about $7,000.
6,600 human calculator. That was pretty impressive.
Thank you. And at 12%, guess what? That's basically about $500-$600. So that would reduce their tax liability from $7,400 down to less than $7,000, as compared to $14,800. So
Which,
less than 8%, half.
And less than 8%.
But the point is, it's half.
Half.
I would love if someone's paying more in retirement in taxes. Honestly, it's because they have to. Because
Why?
really, they want to.
Well, they want to.
Right. I mean, how many folks?
They want to.
Well, they want to. I mean, the end of the day, we're seeing that what's happening is folks we're replacing part of their income. The gross amount of their income, again, isn't involved with FICA, Fed, 401k contributions. So therefore, the actual amount of cash flow they need is less.
Right.
But they want the same, which is what they get, but they pay less in taxes. So don't buy into this myth. I mean, it really is. It'll keep you up at night, and the truth is there's no reason to do it because no one pays more in taxes in retirement. They just don't. The system isn't set up that way. And what's kind of cool here is that we didn't even talk about this, but if Bob and Sally earned another $100,000 of income on top of that, let's say they're at 84. Now we're talking about going to 184.
Okay.
They're in an effective 22% bracket, which would be about $22,000. If you add that to the $7,000, that would be about $29,000. If you divide that by $190,000, I don't have my calculator on that one, but I will tell you it's probably somewhere in the area of about 12 to 15%.
15.7.
Thank you. Thank you. 15.7.
So that would be slightly higher, but we find that people in retirement don't change their habits.
Right.
So that's not for the better or the worse. You kind of are who you are. Your life is the size that it is. What our ultimate goal is to make sure that you're able to live the same life the day after you retire as the day before. So it's relatively unlikely, unless an extenuating circumstance comes up, that a person would want $100,000 more of income annually than they were earning, than they were living off of.
Well, I mean, what would that create? I mean, what that would create obviously is more taxable income, but the question would be why.
Right.
And we're going to talk about one of those reasons of a maybe why here in a minute, and that is with maybe somebody wants to deal with debt. Then maybe they want to deal with debt, or maybe they want to either their debt or someone else's obligations, etc. So. Or possibly, maybe someone has received an inheritance from, let's say, a family farm.
Ooh, so they have taxes to pay.
From the sale of a family farm.
Okay.
And they have taxes to pay. But helping you determine the timing of income, as well as the sources of income, is, again, one of the very important and, frankly, fun, vital functions that we get involved in with clients every day. And for a lot of folks, especially those that are, we'll call them tweeners, they're in between corporate health care and Medicare.
Well, their expenses do go up because they're going to have to either pay COBRA, or if they had the opportunity to have access to a retiree plan to bridge them from their original employer coverage to Medicare, or they have to find private health insurance.
And seeing if they have a subsidy. Right? Are they eligible for a subsidy? And we know that we've helped many folks in terms of structuring their income in such a way so that they became eligible for subsidies, even if they were millionaires. But our system is stupid.
Right. Well, because the system isn't concerned with your net worth so much as your taxable income. So if you happen to be an individual that is looking to retire before 65 and you're someone that's going to have to look at private health insurance, or you're comparing individual private insurance to your COBRA options, you may have the opportunity, depending upon how much income you need, how your finances are structured, to moderate your taxes to the point where you are able to receive a subsidy. Maybe that'll be a follow-up topic for next week.
That sounds good. So I think at the end of the day, based on the new, basically, I mean, the new rates didn't raise that much, but from the old rates where you're at today, you can, as a married filing jointly, have up to $90,000 a year and still be in less than a 10% effective tax bracket. 10%. You want to pay more? We'll salute you, because that means that you're being a patriot. But realistically, the answer is no. You will be in a lower bracket in retirement than you are today. So tax planning is important, but again, it's certainly nothing to keep yourself awake over at night, or frankly, be scared by somebody else about. And I think that's what the big deal was.
I have some good news for people, especially as we're starting to approach the end of the year. Just yesterday, the IRS released the maximum contribution limits available for individuals that are still working, for various retirement plans, and one maybe if the only of two that I can think of benefits of inflation is one, everyone got that great cost of living adjustment on their Social Security benefit.
8.7%.
That's 2 years in a row we had some nice cost of living adjustments for Social Security enrollees. But the IRS announced that the individual maximum contribution for 401ks, 403bs, and almost all 457 plans will be $22,500 this year versus what it originally was, which was $20,500 for this year. And I just make mention of that because if you are contributing a specific dollar amount to your retirement plan at work to meet that maximum contribution, you might want to evaluate that for the 2023. Or if you're doing a percentage, you might be able to increase that percentage.
You know, that's funny, because I was thinking you were mentioning this because you wanted me to put more into your retirement plan.
Well, we didn't talk about the simple IRAs, which I don't, that in this particular article it wasn't listed. However, for IRAs, if you're an individual that unfortunately doesn't have access to a retirement plan, or you're using a spousal IRA because your spouse doesn't have access to a retirement plan, the contribution limit's up $500 for next year, so it's up to $6,500 from $6,000. The catch-up contribution in this case is still only $1,000. That's not going to be subject to an annual cost of living adjustment.
I think these simple limits went up by $1,000 this year also. So that means I get the point and more for you, which I'm glad Uncle Sam is subsidizing your retirement.
Or technically, I get to put in more for you.
Well, yeah. You got to take care of the old man. I mean, come on, honey.
Someone has to.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Again, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. Since we've woken Eric up in the booth, we'd love to hear from him, and we'd love to hear from you again at 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. If it's okay, babe, we'll take our first break of the hour.
Let's do it.
I'm Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach.
I'm Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach.
And I'm Robert Markham, your insurance specialist.
And we'll be right back.
Hey, ladies, ready to order appetizers?
I don't think I should. I'm trying to cut back on spending lately.
Didn't you download that Upside app I told you about? The one that gets you cash back.
Oh, no, I didn't. Is it really worth it?
Yes, because of cash back from Upside, I haven't had to cut back, even with prices getting extremely high lately.
Wow. And what do you get cash back on again?
You get money back on gas, groceries, and it works at restaurants. Look, I'd get 37% cash back on this meal, including on drinks and apps.
All right, I'm sold. You order the apps, I'm buying and getting the cash back on Upside.
Oh no, I've created a monster.
Download the free Upside app and use promo code APPS for an extra $10 on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code APPS for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Remember, use promo code APPS for an extra $10 on your first purchase. Don't cut back. Get cash back with the free app from Upside.
A message for homeowners. Are you thinking of selling your fixer-upper home? Did you get a bid from the home improvement company yet? Wow, material and labor shortages mean lengthy wait times and exorbitant cost. Why bother when I'm paying top dollar right now for homes in any condition? Hi, this is Mike Robinson. I can make you a cash offer with no contingencies for your home or condo. Just call me, Mike Robinson, at 314-283-0867. That's Mike Robinson, 314-283-0867, or visit us at robangproperties.com.
Need to know more? Take it from Nancy of Maplewood.
The whole process was stress-free and with no unexpected surprises. Mike went above and beyond to make sure the entire experience went smoothly. And their A-plus Better Business Bureau rating and 5-star Google rating gave me peace of mind.
Or how about Larry in St. Louis County?
Selling our home to Mike was accomplished quickly and professionally. The whole process allowed us to move and not have to hassle with listing our property for a long time and getting everything done to close our new home.
Robang Properties, 314-283-0867.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, that you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email, jeff@jblfinancial.com, to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
926 here on the Big 550 KTRS. Talk Radio St. Louis. Great to be back. First half hour of hour number one is almost gone, which is cool, but the text line is firing hot.
That's right.
Will you?
I'm ready to go.
I mean, you stole my seat.
I guess I got to do
something. I can't read it from here. So
you couldn't read it when you were sitting here either.
Well, that's true. Thank you.
Helping dependents fund their IRA accounts is a topic Jeff likes. What bucket of dollars should I use and why? Is it a gift?
What did I tell you about, sending in these texts, Aaron?
I could use.
Honey, it's nice. If it used to be lunch money, now IRA contributions. Come on.
Well, you do say we get more expensive as we get older.
I mean, just try and make it a little less obvious.
The truth will set you free. That's why it's the truth. Yeah, we love
this. Is a topic you like. I too like it.
Well, please, then I'll let you continue.
No, I just liked it because I was getting some cash.
Okay. Yeah, great idea to be able to do that. And, it's kind of fun because we had a client that we talked to about this last week, and it was fun because they happen to have a family farm. We have other ones that are small business owners. And, kids these days, sometimes they work. Sometimes they come with grandma or grandpa to work. Sometimes you're doing that thing. And, and basically, sometimes they don't have earned income. But in fact, maybe they should because that puts them in a position where they can make a contribution up to 100% of their income.
Which this year would be $6,000, next year which would be $6,500.
Right. So in many cases, we've said, hey, put the kid on the payroll.
Right, because the only way that you can make contributions to an IRA or a Roth IRA is with earned income.
Absolutely. So good idea. Wonderful thing to do. Good for savings. And then also, naturally, once they're old enough, you can get them involved in the investment discussion. Where are we putting the money? Why does it make sense? Getting them a true feeling of ownership. Mm-hmm. They're investing in some of the great companies in this country.
Well, what bucket of dollars would you use?
And why?
Are we talking about making from them making contributions, or are we talking about
let's say
Roth versus traditional?
No, let's say mom and dad or grandma and grandpa are going to fund their dependents or grandchildren's IRA. What money of theirs would they use to do it?
Well, I'm thinking two sources are kind of easy. The first one is if grandma and grandpa, or mom and dad, if they're old enough and they're receiving required minimum distributions, then what happens is if they're not using all those dollars to maintain their lifestyle, right, There's an easy source. That's an easy one. And obviously the other source would be certainly non-retirement dollars.
Right, because you don't want to pay taxes on the money because you're not going to get the deduction for having done this.
Yeah, or option 3. Their Roth to the kids' Roth.
Right, take the distribution from your Roth.
Right, tax-free.
And also I would say if you were making the decision, are you going to fund a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA for a youngster, which would you select?
Well, I would do a Roth because obviously if the youngster is in a 0 tax bracket right now, they're going to be a bigger tax bracket sometime during their life, even if it's only the 10.
Mm-hmm.
So with the Roth growing income tax deferred, I would do that. And I would tell you, you don't really know what the future is going to be, especially regarding taxes.
Right.
And I would say that because of the straits, call it that way, that this government is putting us in with their incredible levels of spending, Roth IRAs may go away.
Right.
Why,
it's possible.
Why not? I mean,
well, they changed the rules recently. I mean, just a couple of years ago on how you can take distributions from your inherited IRAs. So nothing is sacred.
No, I mean, it's called let's get rid of the easy stuff. And to me, Roth would be a very simple thing to get rid of.
And it would be considered a gift.
Not making any claims or suggestions or even projecting here, but
it hasn't even been discussed. But
to me, that would be the low-hanging fruit.
And this would be considered a gift.
Yes, absolutely. So,
however, you're going to be well under the gift tax limit, so shouldn't be any concern there.
Not at all. And
because the most you could do is $6,000 this year or $6,500 next year.
This is a great conversation to have with your advisor.
Absolutely.
Who should know your situation. Can help you plan for the cash flow per se for it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. And obviously, you can either help those people that you love while you're alive
mm-hmm.
or do it when you're gone. Or do it both times. It's all good.
Right.
A little more expensive than your allowance, honey.
I never got an
allowance. I know that.
Allowance. It is. $1 would have been more expensive than my allowance. Are you going to tell
why you didn't get an allowance?
Because I was made an offer, and even at 5 years old, smart enough to make the more lucrative decision.
Yes. Aaron decided on Hanukkah every day.
Right. Either I could have allowance or I could ask for things whenever I wanted them and usually get them.
Yeah. It's true.
I mean, that's the nice way to say it.
You were wiser than your years at that point in time.
That's right.
Which is good.
Cannibal from the start.
Great, really great text question to start off the hour, so thank you so much for our texters. Again, our phone lines are also open, 931-5877 or 84126. One more text line. Subject matter for the rest of this hour is going to be a little different than we usually do. Aaron and I are investment advisors, representatives. We manage folks' money. We're also licensed life and health insurance agents, as you know, especially in the Medicare area. And though we get paid by helping folks manage their money, some of the most, I think, rewarding and important things that we can talk about with our clients is things that aren't always about money. Whether it's about, buying or renting a home, whether it's about how do we deal with mortgage debt, et cetera, those type of things, financial questions. Those are important. And one of the big financial areas, as you know, that we work a lot in is the life insurance area. So we'll get into some of those other areas after this. But we wanted to start with a story about Ted and Janice that I know Aaron and Rob had last week.
They stopped in for a coaching session. Great couple. Been clients for many, many years now. Ted is a retired dentist, and Janice is a retired nurse. Nicest folks you ever want to meet.
They always bring treats, too.
Yes. And in this case, Ted came with 4 whole life policies that he didn't quite know what to do with.
Oh, I meant they usually bring us food, but yeah, they also...
No, in this case...
they brought us life insurance.
They brought us contracts.
Well, they also filled up the Oreo den for me, et cetera, as well. I got a bag of...
Double stuffed Oreos, which she didn't need.
And also... dark chocolate Oreos, which I'd never seen before, and they were very good. I shared them with my golf buddies.
Breakfast of champions, no doubt.
Amen. But let's talk about those insurance contracts for a moment.
Yeah, he didn't quite know what to do with them. Should I get rid of them? Should I buy something new? Rob, take a look at these. Tell me what you think. And together these policies had a combined value of about $50,000. Ted's dividends were buying up additional paid-up insurance, and they were still paying annual premiums of about $600 a year.
And that's not unusual because the typical, I want to say default option, is having whole life dividends applied to dividend additions, creating more cash value, which having its own dividend, those cash value additions, and also adding and increasing the basic death benefit as you go along.
Gotcha.
Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's pretty standard.
I suggested, being that these policies were 10 years old, we compare the dividends to the premiums to see if these policies could be self-sustaining.
And that's kind of, Rob, a almost like a rule of thumb.
If we're near the 10-year mark.
Yes. Between 10 and 15 years, most traditional whole life policies sold by major companies, the dividends are going to exceed the premium.
And that's whole life policies only?
Yes.
Got you.
Sure enough, as I suspected, when we compared the dividends to the premiums being paid, the dividends were more than the premiums. The premiums were roughly $600 a month versus the $1,000 that he was receiving in dividends.
So that means he was actually getting $400 more than what the expense of the contracts were?
Absolutely. So in this situation, why don't we request a dividend options change form, and instead of buying more insurance in the form of paid up additions, we could set the dividends to pay the premium.
That's fabulous. I mean, it's an easy idea because, again, it's a phone call. You didn't even have to fill out a form, did you?
Did not.
And what was the result?
Well, number one, we get to keep these policies in force. We don't have to buy any more insurance, and we eliminate the payment of premium in the process.
That's pretty nice. I mean, obviously, Ted and Janice must have been pretty happy about the idea of not cutting the insurance companies any more checks.
They were. And the fact that they were able to pocket $400 income tax-free was the cherry on top.
Why was that income tax-free?
Because dividends are a form of return premium.
Nice. So they not only paid the policies, but now Ted can take Janice out for some nice dinners.
That's a great thing. I mean, $400 a month.
Yeah, and I think what's neat, Rob, is that this really did reinforce what I've always, I have taught Aaron, I've taught you guys, I've worked with you guys on, is that, replacing insurance is rarely the answer. Is it?
It isn't, because the policies you already own were bought when you were younger and healthier and lighter, 30 pounds lighter, and the commissions have already been paid.
Right, because that's where the bulk of a premium in a whole life policy goes in the first year, is to paying that compensation.
So, quick question here: we already requested, or Rob, you requested that the dividends be applied to premium. But is there a second request that you have to make in order for them to send that excess dividend to your house?
No, they'll automatically do that. Or in some cases, some companies might be not as cooperative, and what they'll do is they'll just send you the dividend
and
at the same time,
and
you pay the premium, but you've already got the money, so that kind of makes it easy. And it's great. And so, if this client, for whatever reason, had made a decision that adding more insurance might be something they wanted to do, either as a gift or possibly as a benefit for their children, grandchildren, etc., they obviously opened up $600. That's available to them. $600 they were used to paying.
Right.
They can always do that. Plus, right. But
so
you're right.
Really, it's like they have $1,000
right.
because they have the $600 now they won't pay to maintain the $50,000, and the
And again, what happens is that again, this $50,000 to me is a building block. It's the base.
Right.
That's going to be under whatever else they might need, and then obviously the contracts today are a little bit different, where what we really can do is customize the premium paying, not only the premium but also the period of paying premiums to what their needs are based upon the face that they choose.
Well, Ted and Janice happen to be listening.
Oh, cool.
They wanted to remind us that they brought the everything cashews as well, which you didn't enjoy as much as Rob and I then went out to find them to buy more because they were so delicious.
That's fabulous. I don't even know if I saw them, but that's cool.
We've got another text. You didn't see them because we snagged them.
Okay. I thought you played by the rules, honey. You know, the old man gets the first.
Would you get to skim off the top of all the gifts?
Yes, I do. My initials outside on that sign, baby. You
They're
better
not
believe
bribes,
it.
they're gifts.
That's right.
Only because I let it stay there.
Okay.
My neighbor said he invested in I-bonds. He does this electronically and says the current rate is 9%. He
Sure.
says the maximum each person can invest is $10,000 per year. I'd like to know your opinion on these, how safe they are, how they may work during retirement years and earning years. In general, are these safe?
Well, super safe because they're treasuries. They're They're long-term treasury bonds. You're buying them at a discount. That's why they're paying you 9%. And if you've been a listener to the show, which we hope you have for some period of time, we were getting these calls 4 or 5 months ago when they were paying 7%. So what's happened? Because interest rates have risen, the face on those bonds has been not going up; they've been going down.
Which is why they're
the
paying
yields
you
are
more.
going up.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest with you, $10,000 in your portfolio. Now, for some folks, it's a lot, but for many folks, it's not.
Well,
is this going to become some type of a core thing to do? It's a peripheral thing.
And I would just say that when clients call and ask us about this, or when we get these calls, texts or calls on the show, like you said, Dad, it's not going to be a core piece of your fixed income portfolio. However, if you have excess savings that you aren't planning to use for the next 5 years, because that's the term of these I-bonds, if you break them early, you have to pay back the previous 3 months' worth of interest that you had accrued. Then, hey, you're earning more than you are in your savings account. So, not the worst thing, but like you said, Dad, this isn't going to make or break your retirement or your income in retirement.
If it feels good, you can do it. But again, it isn't something that is going to become a core part of your portfolio over a period of time. And the truth is that until interest rates start going up, I-bonds have been around for a long, long time. And frankly, they weren't really valuable in that respect for many folks, other than as a diversifier. Cool. Again, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you, 931-5877 or 84126 from the text line.
Well, the text line says, right before we take our next break of the hour, I'm inheriting some cash and part of an IRA.
Very nice.
I was told I can fold the IRA into my IRA. Suggestion. That wasn't even from a soundboard.
Was that a suggestion from a former financial advisor of yours? Because you cannot directly fold it in.
So hence huh?
Suggestions on how to deal with the inherited IRA.
Well, first of all, run away from the advisor that said you can fold this into your IRA directly, because you can't. You're not allowed to consolidate your IRA with anyone else's unless they're your spouse and unless that spouse is passed from this earth.
Right. So in life, you cannot combine IRAs and the reason for this is because it's tied to your Social Security number, as we were just talking about required minimum distributions. That's tied to your age. So really, although it feels like you've got a lot of accounts, if you have a spouse, it's to your benefit. You're not the exact same age.
But there is a way to indirectly move this money from this IRA into yours. So let's create an example here.
And you know what? We like to call this reverse engineering. So if you log onto our website, we actually have a video titled Reverse Engineering. You get to watch my dad draw pictures on our electronic whiteboard.
Same one that we use during coaching sessions.
That's exactly right. So if you need a little bit more after you hear this example, you can always log on to jblfinancial.com and take a look.
Very good. So let's use an example. Let's say that our texter received inherited IRA from mom or dad of approximately $12,000. And they're currently actively at work, and they're making contributions to their 401k plan or 403b or simple plan, but they're not making the maximum that they could. Mm-hmm. So let's just say that they were on average. Let's say they'd like to put in another $3,000 a year. That was all the room that they had, so they could max out their contribution. We know that because this is an inherited IRA, that IRA has to be emptied inside of 10 years. Now, if mom was over the age of 72 when she passed away, or dad, you have to take required minimum distributions, but the required minimum distribution on $12,000 is about $500, so we don't really care because we're going to pull out $3,000.
Right.
So you pull out $3,000, you declare that as taxable income. At the same time, what you do is you walk into your HR department and you say, okay, please reduce my wages by $3,000.
Over the course of the year?
Exactly. And so what happens is that you're now going to have taxable wages reportable of $3,000 less. So
also, the other key here mechanically is when you take that $3,000 distribution, the custodian or the bank that's holding the money is going to ask you how much you'd like to withhold in taxes, and you could say you don't want to withhold in taxes because you know that you're about to complete the second step, which will give you the deduction on the other side. So you get to take home the full $3,000 that came from the inherited IRA as you are putting in another $3,000 through your pay to your retirement plan at work.
Yeah, that's great, babe. I hadn't thought about that.
And this works the same way if you happen to be self-employed, you're using another type of retirement vehicle. The same process works. It's just your contribution limits are different, so you want to make sure that, you haven't maxed out.
You really are your mother's child. What can I tell you? So that's sort of an easy, for a texter, that's kind of an easy way to do that. Or alternatively, if you weren't a member of a 401k or 403b plan, company retirement health plan, you could, assuming that you weren't hitting the maximum IRA contribution limit, you could make an IRA contribution after you've pulled money from that inherited IRA.
Or if you're spouse, you have a spousal IRA.
Exactly.
That kind of thing.
Or you could do a spousal contribution. That's another way to do it. Really good. So depending on the speed that you'd like to get this money in and the room that and the availability that you have, you could make that happen.
Or this would be a great way. It's not going to reduce the taxation, but if we go back to an old text about how do you start an IRA or a Roth IRA for a dependent, you could be using this money to create a retirement savings plan for your children, your grandchildren.
Always thinking about the children, honey.
I know you are too. I got that joke in there before you.
Yes, I'm thinking about your children that aren't born yet.
Yeah, I know that's where you were going with it.
Did you?
I sensed it.
I thought you loved your dad.
It.
Your mom and dad, all the time, effort, love we put into you. It's time.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Announcement.
You're very welcome. And I know that you'll be very welcome for us to take our next break of the hour.
Please.
Don't touch that dial. Aaron and I and Rob will be back right after these messages.
Hey, ladies, ready to order appetizers?
I don't think I should. I'm trying to cut back on spending lately.
Didn't you download that Upside app I told you about? The one that gets you cash back.
Oh, no, I didn't. Is it really worth it?
Yes, because of cash back from Upside, I haven't had to cut back, even with prices getting extremely high lately.
Wow. And what do you get cash back on again?
You get money back on gas, groceries, and it works at restaurants. Look, I'd get 37% cash back on this meal, including on drinks and apps.
All right, I'm sold. You order the apps, I'm buying and getting the cash back on Upside.
Oh no, I've created a monster.
Download the free Upside app and use promo code APPS for an extra $10 on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code APPS for an extra $10 in the free Upside app. Remember, use promo code APPS for an extra $10 in your first purchase. Don't cut back. Get cash back with the free app from Upside.
Gas Appliance Service and the Fireplace and Grill Center can get your fires burning for the upcoming holidays. Call now and get ahead. New gas logs will make your home warm and inviting when you're entertaining or curled up on the sofa with a good book. See the beautiful burning displays at Gas Appliance Service near Westport, or the Fireplace and Grill Center, a quarter-mile east of 141 on the south side of Manchester Road. Don't wait. Now's the time for the best service selection and prices.
Blessed Jewelers' annual Ladies Party is October 18th through the 22nd. Get 15 to 70% off regular prices on designer engagement rings, wedding bands, eco-friendly bearing watches, one-of-a-kind silver jewelry, and much more. Gift with purchase, plus a drawing to win $50 to $500 gift certificates during the Blessed Jewelers' annual Ladies Party, October 18th through the 22nd. On Olive, just west of Mason, and next to Crazy Bowls in the Schnucks Plaza, where 5% of proceeds go to help breast cancer survivors. BlessedJewelers.com.
Basement with a Y. That's Basement E.
It's Basement T.
Basement E?
It's Basement T.
Oh, Basement T. Basement T. I get it. That's the basement waterproofing and foundation repair experts at Woods Basement Systems.
Right. The All Things Basement T experts at Woods Basement Systems will provide you a free estimate and dry up that wet basement and fix that cracked foundation. Call 800-388-9326 or go online to woodsbasementsystems.com.
That's woodsbasementsystems.com.
Hi, this is Stuart Rosenblum, president of Stewart's American Mortgage.
Stewie!
Mortgages are the biggest investment that a person's going to make in their life, yet most people don't know anything about it. Tune in for Mortgages and More with Stewie. That's me, where we can go over all the different types of mortgage programs in simple terms. You, me,
Stewie!
You'll become an expert after the first show.
Listen to Mortgages and More with Stewie, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on KTRS.
This is Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email at aaron@jblfinancial.com to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Now, back to Straight Talk on Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are Jeff and Erin Lapidus.
Welcome back to Straight Talk on Retirement. It's 9:52 here, and we've got about 7.5 minutes left. I think that we're going to be going, I understand, to the mailbag.
We just have so many mailbag questions. I feel that
It's a drag. We got to unfill the mailbag, okay?
Right. People have questions. They want answers. We're about to give it to them.
Bob from Des Peres asks, I'm turning 65 in June, and I will be leaving my company's health insurance plan. Does it make more sense to elect COBRA after I leave or enroll in Medicare?
Well, if you are 65 years old and you're retiring, they will send you your COBRA notice because by law they're required to. However, most likely you don't want it. And second of all, you really shouldn't elect it. The reason for that is COBRA is available to individuals who don't have access to other qualified coverage. You have access as a 65-year-old to Medicare. So at this time,
line up and sign up.
Right. Medicare does not consider line up and sign up. Medicare does not consider COBRA to be qualified coverage. So what that means is if you retire and enroll in your COBRA policy, you are going to disturb your Medicare enrollment. You're going to miss that special election that you have access to when you leave employer-based coverage, and you're going to start having a penalty accrue against you when you do enroll. You're also going to be limited to your Medicare Part B enrollment is not going to happen when you want it to. You're going to have to follow the Medicare Part B open enrollment guidelines, which means you have between January and March to sign up, and it's not going to be effective until July of whatever year your COBRA benefits end. So
not good.
Not ideal. You'll also lose your opportunity to have no underwriting if you'd like to select a supplemental policy as opposed to a Medicare Advantage plan. With Medicare Advantage, you'll be able to get right in, but you are limiting your options. So, one, you're making things more expensive for yourself. Two, you're making things more expensive for yourself forever with the Medicare premiums. And then three, the penalties on Medicare premiums. And then three, you're limiting your options in terms of how you're going to couple your Medicare coverage with another plan.
And this was a really important question because it's also one that we receive literally every single coaching session.
Yes.
Not only is how am I going to transition my money out of my company retirement plan and then engage it in such a way so it can create an income stream for me, but B, how do I then also transition from my company health plan to Medicare? How do I do it? When do I do it?
What are the other options available to me? Because
there's so many ones. Folks probably realize, or hopefully they do, that there are certain things that are called qualifying events. When you lose coverage because of either retirement or because of termination, if your spouse is covered by somewhere in a different employer plan, you have automatic availability to get enrolled in their plan without pre-existing conditions within 30 days of the qualifying event.
And one better is Medicare is the only type of coverage that allows for voluntary disenrollment to be a qualifying event. So that means that, for example, if you're one of those husbands that's retired before their wives.
You don't like them.
And I love them. I just
you categorically don't.
Painfully sorry for their wives that have to wake up and go to work every day. But anyway, let's say that you were a spouse, your husband on your wife's insurance, and her company makes a change to the plan or increases the premium because there's been a change to the plan, or the benefits are different, you're not a fan anymore. You can voluntarily disenroll from the plan whenever you like, and that's considered a qualifying event into Medicare as long as you are 65 years old.
Right. I mean, we have a case like that right now where one of our clients, unfortunately, was ill, just got off of disability. We know he's going to be terminated from his employer. Mm-hmm. We're going to be eligible for COBRA for 2 months, for the last 2 months of the year. Well, his spouse is still currently actively at work. Mm-hmm. And, naturally, the thought would be, why pay a COBRA premium, which is going to be more, which is really the full premium that's the employer's being charged for coverage, instead of going to a spousal benefit or a spouse's plan where those premiums would be pre-tax under a cafeteria plan, and it may even be less expensive.
Well, I could think of one reason why you
There's
would
only one big one.
The reason that you would maintain your COBRA coverage for the last 2 months of the year might be if you've already hit your maximum out of pocket on your policy. Even if the premium is more expensive, if you are still using benefits, then you're 100% into the insurance company's pocket. So you might want to foot the bill for those last couple of months, then flip over to the spouse's employer plan and start the new bucket over again, as opposed to you filled your bucket for the first 10 months of the year while he was still employed. Then he's going to open up a new bucket by joining his wife's policy. Then when their plan begins anew, the bucket's going to start over again. So that's 3 within the course of a 3-month period versus maybe just 2.
BINGO. That's right. Well, I mean, it's true. And what's interesting in this particular case is this client of ours, he's been approved for Social Security disability. So in 2 years, so in other words, they're going to do like a 3-jumper. First of all, they're going to go to COBRA, mm-hmm. stay there for 2 months. When they hit January 1st, he's then going to enroll in his wife's plan, mm-hmm. get picked up by that plan, continue to do that plan probably for another, I think it's about 17 months, which it will take him to 2 years of being covered by Social Security disability, which
then opens up his Medicare eligibility. And then what we'll do is the comparison between his wife's policy and what they're paying and what Medicare would look like.
I mean, and the beauty here for these folks was not only were we able to help them with this path, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you do this. And it's like, yeah, it's all legal. We can do it.
It's all legal.
Well, it is. I mean, you just
it sounds too good to be true, paying more insurance companies more money.
Well,
but it's not. It's legal.
It's just, we're weaving this path through healthcare, and it isn't a problem. But the cool part is that we also were able to really clearly define for them what their out-of-pocket costs were going to be, assuming that they maintain the same level of medical care that they had.
Which is incredibly important if you're someone that has been accessing disability because you're needing quite a bit of care. And in this particular person's case, he was in need of care.
And what the other part was that they knew that when they eventually got to Medicare, which would be about 17 months, well, guess what happens? All their out-of-pocket expenses are going to go down. Right. All good for coaching sessions. And you know how to get them, 314-863-0000. 08. Again, call our office, 314-863-0008. And the other part is, we've got a whole nother hour of Straight Talk on Retirement. It's going to follow just after the messages for the hour. I'm Jeff Lapidus, retirement coach.
I'm Erin Lapidus, a retirement coach.
And I'm Robert Markham, your insurance specialist.
This is the Big 550 KTRS St. Louis, Alton, Valley Park, St. Charles, and the world.
Streaming live at KTRS.com.
I'm Brian Clark. Hospitals in 43 states and Washington, D.C. are all experiencing a surge in pediatric respiratory illnesses. President Biden's chief medical advisor, Dr. Anthony Fauci, tells ABC News.
This is particularly problematic because as we get into the flu season, you might have a convergence of 3 significant respiratory illnesses at one time in children.
Some of these illnesses right now include the flu and RSV, a respiratory virus. The doctors say telltale signs are when a child is physically laboring to breathe. The White House says it will fight a decision from a federal appeals court that granted a request from the attorneys general of 6 Republican-led states to put a hold on the Biden administration's student loan forgiveness plan. ABC's Karen Travers has more from the White House.
This is a major blow to a key policy that President Biden is campaigning on ahead of the midterm elections. About 22 million Americans have already applied through this relief program, and it's only been open for a week. And now it's not clear what this order means for those borrowers. The White House is still encouraging people to apply under this program.
State is suing the federal government over the border issue, but there are signs the migrant surge is easing.
Arizona is suing the federal government to keep more than 100 double-stacked shipping containers, filling gaps along the U.S.-Mexico border near Yuma. It's Governor Doug Ducey's idea, Republican. Meanwhile, border crossings by Venezuelans plummeted in the first week of a new Biden administration policy to expel them to Mexico, say U.S. and Mexican officials. Down by 90%. Venezuelans must arrive by air and apply for asylum at airports under the new rules. Chuck Severson, ABC News.
Ukrainian officials say Russia is now attacking Ukraine's power infrastructure, and it's caused blackouts in the country. You're listening to ABC News.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is Sadie. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
God, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending Ooma and their all-in-one phone, video, and collaboration solution.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
Portland's mayor unveiled a multifaceted plan to address the city's homeless and housing crisis. The mayor, Ted Wheeler, said,
"Those Portlanders who are unhoused and on the streets deserve our understanding, our compassion, and our help."
He'll present his resolution to the city council Wednesday. It would ban camping on streets and move unhoused people to designated sites that would have services for food, hygiene, and treatment. Pfizer says that once the U.S. government stops buying its COVID-19 vaccines, it's going to begin charging $110 to $130 a dose. The drug maker says people with private health insurance or those covered by government programs will most likely continue to pay nothing. It's a growing mystery in the wealthy enclave of Atherton, California, in the Silicon Valley. Landscapers found a car buried 4 feet under the garden of a $15 million mansion.
Police in Atherton now confirming the car that's being excavated was a Mercedes convertible that was reported stolen in Palo Alto in 1992. How and why that car got buried behind a mansion isn't known yet, says Atherton Police Commander Dan Larson.
We don't know if this is going to be a criminal investigation or if this will be a non-criminal investigation.
Twice now, cadaver dogs have indicated there might be a faint scent of human remains, but so far no remains have been found in the car. The current homeowners bought the house only a few years ago. Alex Stone, ABC News.
This is ABC News.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure for max strength daytime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. Dayquil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks Dayquil High Blood Pressure. The daytime, non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine.
Brian Clark, ABC News.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Yeah. We're back here. Well done. What are you laughing, honey?
It was great.
You know, I used to be on Chicago. That was my only part. Yeah.
You were in Chicago?
I was in Chicago visiting your uncle. I wasn't part of the band.
Oh.
It's all good. Welcome back to Hour 2 of Straight Talk on Retirement. I'm Jeff Lapidus, the father of Aaron Lapidus.
What's your favorite title?
Dad is the best word in the alphabet. Thank you. And Robert Markham, our life and health insurance.
Annuities.
Annuities.
More titles.
Got all the titles. More titles than me.
Guy, which is cool. Again, while we were on the break, it was a short one. Nice for 5 minutes, though. I was thinking about...
You were thinking...
About War Games, the movie.
Great movie.
Oh, is that the one with Matthew Broderick?
Uh-huh.
Want to play a game?
Thermonuclear war. And, planning for retirement, it is a war game.
Luckily, it doesn't end in nuclear
We've got
war.
the Internal Revenue Code. We have an uncertain market. We have people. We have assets. How do we create this ultimate game plan so that we can not only not survive the war, but win the war and have a little fun while we're doing it? And I would say that it's much more fun than tic-tac-toe.
I would agree.
Absolutely. And, healthcare is such an important component to retirement planning. Having the ability to, and maybe being in a situation where you have to finally, for the first time, choose your plan, one that fits you the best, best being for the moment. Having the ability to change it.
Every single year.
Which is a very cool thing. We call that open enrollment with Medicare Advantage plans. It's just great. And for several weeks, I've been discussing with our Cracker Jack staff my desire to discuss where the big differences are. Where's the show me the money differences, and I know that Aaron will be spearheading this morning.
That's right. We gave Frank the day off, so everyone's going to have to slum it with me.
Well,
and our Medicare tales.
There you go. They get IVM and not the clone. Okay.
That's right. So, I had a unique opportunity. One of our longtime financial advisory clients gave me a call. Usually, Frank takes these calls to talk about her Medicare Advantage plan for this year. And so I said, I can't. She asked me, what's the best plan this year? And I said, Julie, what's going on? Why aren't you in love with what you currently have? How do we make it better? Tell me the pain points so we can see if we can make it better for you. And she said, I'm just paying a lot for my prescription drugs right now. And I said, why don't you send me the medical questionnaire? I'm going to send it over to you. You just return it to me. It's just going to ask, the drill. It's going to ask for your physicians and the prescriptions that you're currently on. So she sent that over to me. She's in relatively good health. She's only seen a couple of physicians, so that made that piece relatively easy. But when I took a look at her prescription drug option, or her current prescriptions, the difference became remarkably clear. It wasn't even a contest.
Well, and that's the two-part, isn't it, honey? Which is, number one, are your docs a member of the network that you're looking at? And then number two is, how does the formulary for prescriptions fit with that doctor group, right?
Because it's not just important that your prescriptions are on the formulary, it's where they are on the formulary. And I know we've spent quite a bit of time talking about the two-tiered system that Medicare uses. First, they use a traditionally tiered system, which is your prescriptions. Are they preferred generics, non-preferred generics, preferred brands, non-preferred brands? And then the fifth tier is the Medicare tier, which is everything essentially that's not on those other 4 tiers. Or injectables, things like that.
All right. Well, give us some meat here. Give us some red meat. The 500 changes that happened, we've talked about the last couple of weeks. Give us a couple of blockbusters here.
All right. So our client, Julie, she is currently on, and everyone's going to be impressed with my ability to pronounce these.
Okay.
Valcyclovir is a prescription that she's currently taking.
For what?
I don't know.
Okay.
Come on now. I'm not a physician, just here to help you pay for what the physician prescribes.
But you've seen this drug before.
Yes, I have on multiple occasions. It's not the most common prescription, but it is a relatively common prescription, as well as Resendronate, which that one is not as popular, but it's expensive. This year, or in the upcoming year, I'm sorry, we have 3 relatively good options, if you could say that, for Julie. WellCare, which is a newer option, they introduced policies last year into the Missouri and Illinois market, is going to offer Julie to cover her prescriptions for $880 for the year. So that's about $74 a month. Those 2 prescriptions each are $444 to cover for the entire year. Cigna, which is also newer to the market and has some excellent benefits associated with it, is going to offer her prescriptions for $42 a month, being $500 for the year, $504 for the year.
That's a little better.
But Aetna, and these are the 2 best alternatives at this point. Then we took a look at Aetna, both the HMO and the PPO for Aetna. 0.
So this was a big tier change deal.
Yeah. She's going to pay 0 for both of these prescriptions for the entire year.
Amazing.
Right.
What's fabulous for her? Save the money.
Also, her physicians are covered. Now, she's not going to have as much dental available to her under the Cigna policy. However, it's more flexible. So with the Aetna dental, if she chooses the HMO, she's going to have $2,000 a year towards dental. She gets to see any dentist she likes. She can even use it for implants if that's something that she might need.
What's better than that?
Right, so she's not giving anything up. She's going to be able to pocket at minimum $500 for the year.
Okay.
And all she has to do is fill out a new application. Make the change for January 1st.
Because open enrollment, no health insurance questions.
No underwriting.
Pre-existing additions, waiting periods, no nothing.
Exactly.
It's so important to get this decision right, because if you make the wrong step, you could wind up paying hundreds of dollars that you otherwise didn't have to pay.
That's exactly right. And there is no cost for you to have an evaluation. There's no cost for you to take a look. In fact, I would say I think about it in the opposite, which is it does cost you money not to look.
Well, I mean, the cool part is that we have a computer program.
We do have a program that will tell us 2 things. It'll tell us, 1, how your prescriptions are covered under every single plan that's available to you in the Missouri or Illinois market. And then 2, it's going to tell us, are your physicians covered in those plans? So we're able to cover the 2 most important things that people are concerned with when it comes to their health insurance. Can I see the physicians that I want to see? How are my prescriptions covered, and how much do I have to pay when I go to the pharmacy?
And it's so easy to do. Pick up the phone. Give her office a call, 314-863-0008 if you're not an existing client. You want to have a coaching call with Frank. Easy to do. If you aren't an existing client, what will happen is that our receptionist, Kelly, who's also our appointment center, she'll get your name, address, information. She'll send it to you by email, assuming you have it. If not,
we'll mail it to you.
We'll mail it to you. Simple questionnaire. Who are your docs? What are your drugs? Send it back in 24 hours, at least 12 to 48 hours before you're visiting with Frank, and he's ready. loaded for bear, about to say, hey, well, literally, we looked at the plans.
Right.
We've looked at your doctors. You're keeping your docs because that's number one. You get to keep your, unlike Obamacare, you get to keep your docs. And then number two is, which plans make the most sense for you?
Right. And the great thing is, once you have joined us and you're a client, we not only keep that previous questionnaire that you sent us from when you joined us, Kelly will just ask, is anything different? So you don't have to fill the questionnaire out every single year. You just have to let us know what's changed. Or if everything's changed, we'll send you a new one. And then we're here to check it for you every single year to make sure that, you, just like Julie, you're going to get to take advantage of what the new and better benefits are for you. People ask every single year, just like Julie, what's the best plan out there? And the reality is, under Medicare, you're in the driver's seat. So you get to figure out what the best plan for you is. What are your prescriptions? Who are your physicians? What extra benefits do you want to take advantage of? We get to tailor your health insurance to what your health care needs are every single year.
Well, the cool part, again, like you said, honey, many times, is Medicare is paying 80% of your costs other than your drugs. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about how do we fill that 20% gap, and then what prescription drug plan can we get that will best fit your needs, which is, i.e., you pay the least amount out of pocket.
That's right. Or we can, for the great thing about working with someone that is able to see all of the different options available for you, you get to be as picky as you want. For example, if you're someone that sees a primary care doctor and maybe you're taking a couple of generic medications, most likely you're going to fit into a variety of these policies. You'll probably fit the Aetna, the United, even the Cigna. At this point, they all have very large networks. Well, then it could come down to, where do you like to fill your meds? Who has the preferred pharmacy that you prefer to use? Or who's got the best extra benefits that you want to use? If you're an individual that needs hearing aids, maybe Aetna's the direction you want to go. If you're an individual that wants the maximum amount of dental and, Cigna's dental network encompasses your physician, maybe that's the direction you want to go. We can make this as tailored as possible for you, but always keeping in mind the two most important things, which are the health insurance benefits, which are the physicians, and then your prescriptions.
And then taking that information and then funneling back into your financial plan. Are you kidding me? Life is good.
Right. So that way we're able to quantify if you have, we're talking about being able to reduce your costs. But unfortunately, there are people out there that have relatively expensive medications. They haven't had tier changes on them, or you're on, an injectable or a Medicare tier prescription and you're going to be paying a couple $100s a month. Unfortunately, maybe you're a person that's going to end up in the donut hole or the gap in your prescription drug benefits. We're going to be able to tell you every single month when you go to the pharmacy how much it's going to cost. So when those expenses change, you're going to be prepared for them, but also we can be prepared with your cash flow plan.
Thousands of our listeners, literally thousands of folks, Aaron and Frank have helped do this, which is great. And we're going to continue to do it. We're going to continue to talk about it. And we'll have something new for you guys next week as well. Do we have any text, babe?
It does not look like we have any texts.
Aaron is here to answer your texts or your phone calls. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. Let's do one more segment here.
Before we get to the segment, I've got 2 questions. They came right in.
Awesome. Let's do those, and then we'll go to our break.
I have Aetna Advantage plan, and does it cover dentures and the teeth removal? Yes, it does. This year, if you are on the PPO, you have $1,000. Next year, if you're on the PPO, you have $1,000. This year, if you are on the HMO, you have $2,000, and you also have $2,000 next year. So that means if you need to straddle a little bit and use some of your money this year and some of your money next year, that might make sense. But it does cover all of your dental needs, essentially.
That's fabulous.
I already have a financial planner. Can I use your insurance services only?
Sure you can.
That absolutely you can. You just give Frank a call, either 314-863-0008, or you can send him an email, Franklin, L-I-N, at jblfinancial.com.
And just so you know, we'll be happy to accept you as a financial planning client as well after you're done. That's what happens.
Of course.
A lot of folks decide that that's what they want to do.
But we're never here to shake you down.
No.
We're here to help you with
not in the least. And we really do receive a lot of folks that do come in for us primarily for healthcare, and then they say,
let's hear what else you got to say.
You did a nice job. Let's talk about the rest.
Looks like we have one more text question.
Fabo.
Are all coaching sessions in person, or do you offer telephone and or Zoom meetings?
We are here to meet with you how you would like to meet with us. So if you'd like to have a phone call, we can arrange a phone coaching session, financial, healthcare, both. We also are happy to offer Zoom, and I think between phone and Zoom, I really personally prefer the Zoom because we're really able to replicate what it would be like if you joined us in the office. We can show you our screen. That way we can do all of the drawing that we like to do on our big electronic whiteboard. We're able to do that for you. Also, for example, Frank, when he is having his Medicare coaching sessions, he's able to pull up some of the benefits for you so you can see them. And oftentimes, hearing things and seeing things at the same time makes it click a little bit better for you. But we're here to do whatever is most convenient for you. So you just let Kelly know when you give the office a call. She'll ask, would you like to see us? Would you like a phone call? Or would you like a Zoom?
And just to add a little bit to that, because of COVID, because of where folks geographically live based on their situations, they're not always able to get into the office maybe for the first visit.
Sure.
If we're doing a coaching session with them for talking about specifically their retirement needs, we'll ask them to send us their financial information
in advance
so that we can have it available to us. We can review it, and we can then have a valuable conversation. But I will tell you, to a person, if after that coaching session, whether it's by telephone or by Zoom, if they do become clients, they're always coming in to visit with us.
Sure.
Because they want to shake hands, they want to look us in the eye and let them know that we got them covered.
And part of what we attempt to do is once you've become a client, that, especially a financial advisory client, then we're going to reach out to you on a regular basis to see if you'd like to come and see us, check in on things. We reach out to people at least 4 times a year, but that's, our minimum as opposed to your maximum, which is you can come see us every single day if you like.
Exactly. And so I was going to say that maybe this is a great time for us to take our first break of this second hour. I'm Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach.
I'm Aaron Lapidus, the retirement coach.
And I'm Robert Markham, your insurance specialist.
We're willing, waiting, and wanting your calls at 314-931-5877 and 84126 from the text line. So don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Hey, KTRS listeners, Roger Wigginton here at Don Rogers Limited, 6727 West Main in Belleville. Well, it's sweater weather, it's jacket weather, and it's layering weather. In our men's and women's department, we can cover all those bases. And our men's store, great selection of fusion sweaters and sportswear. Forsyth of Canada shirts, Grand River jeans, best fitting man's jean on the market. In our ladies department, you're never going to see so many sweaters and jackets from Lulu B, Renoir, Ethel, French dressing jeans. Our assortments are wonderful. The colors, the styling. We are absolutely ready for fall. We're actually ready for the holiday season. And if we don't have it, nobody else is. And I invite you to shop the competition, then come by Don Rogers Limited. Don't forget, we're open Monday through Saturday, 9:30 to 4. Park at the door. Walk in, get waited on. We'd love to see you. Don't forget, we're 6727 West Main in Belleville. And again, thank you so much for listening to our commercial.
There's nothing like the aroma of your favorite entree cooking outside on a grill. And there's nothing like the thermal efficiency of a Big Green Egg to slow cook, sear, bake, or smoke that favorite entree. Frank Blair from Schnarr's Hardware here to tell you we have a Big Green Egg to fit your needs. There are 7 sizes of Big Green Eggs, so we're sure to have one that's right for you. We stock every size,
From the double extra large to cook for a crowd,
That thing is huge and heavy.
all the way down to the Green Egg Mini.
It's so cute.
Perfect for picnics or tailgating. Don't forget to accessorize. We also stock accessories and sauces and rubs to complement any meal. So come to Schnarr's Hardware and let us help you get grilling with a big green egg. Or go to schnarrs.com to see what's in stock, find our locations and hours, or to shop online. Grilling's easy when you start at Schnarr.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
We're taking part with hashtag KTRSPink.
On social media, we'll honor survivors and those we've lost to this horrible disease. So join KTRS all month as we join the fight to cure breast cancer. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hashtag KTRSPink.
KTRS Pink is presented by First Community Credit Union, Schrader Funeral Homes and Crematory, United Healthcare, Baldwin Dental Care, Bishop's Post, The Curtain Exchange, Companion Baking, Altair Travel and Cruises, St. Luke's Hospital, St. Luke's Women's Center,
And the Big 550
KTRS Cares.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, that you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email, jeff@jblfinancial.com, to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
That's right. It's 10:26 here on the Big 550 KTRS. Hour number 2. I like to call this the hour.
We have one final Medicare question. It was received by email.
It sounds great, babe.
Check.
Okay.
I'm listening to the show right now.
Beautiful.
I'm on the Aetna HMO. Will we have $2,000 of dental in 2023? Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
Beautiful.
Great. Will my Alcyclovir, that's another one, be covered? Yes, it will. Now, I'm going to pass this message along to our Medicare coach, Frank, because although I can pronounce the medication, I am not sure which tier it's covered on. So we're going to, like we talked about with Julie, just because it's covered, we want to make sure it's covered well for you. So I'm going to send this over to him, and he is going to respond, let you know how much it'll cost.
It's fabulous. You know, we had some folks that came in and visited with me last Friday for their review, and they just walked in with their questionnaire.
It's great stuff.
Give it to Frank, would you? Okay, fine. You call him back the afternoon. It's just that. It's just really that easy, that fast, that quick. And the best part is, if we can save money, we have a party. Now, the best part was they did bring me Oreos, but, it's all good.
The texts just keep coming in.
Good.
Will the donut hole still be involved? If, for instance, Aetna will lower your monthly, yearly out-of-pockets for prescriptions, does Medicare still use the full amount of RX towards the donut hole? Yes. Unfortunately...
But the hole's getting smaller, isn't it?
Well, it's done closing.
Okay.
It's as closed as it's going to be. The rules surrounding how you reach the donut hole are still going to be the same, which is that the retail cost of the prescription is used to determine where you fall in terms of your expenses of prescription drug coverage. So there's 3 tiers to your payments in Medicare for your prescriptions. The first being the deductible phase. Most people don't have to deal with that. It's waived, especially when we're talking about these Medicare Advantage plans. Almost all of them waive the deductible phase. Then you have the copay phase, followed by the donut hole, which is where you are paying a percentage of the cost of the prescription versus versus a copay. And then finally you have the catastrophic phase of coverage, where you're coverage costs are decreased exponentially. Now, this is another important reason why, if you are currently if you're currently on Medicare and you are looking at open enrollment, to work with a professional, because some of the plans do provide some additional protection in the donut hole. For example, Essence will keep all of your generic meds at the original cost, being no charge to you when you reach the donut hole. They're only going to increase the cost of essentially the med that pushed you into the donut hole, which would be the more expensive medication. So there are nuances in these plans. However, I would say for individuals that are going to benefit from these tier changes with Aetna, the meds that they've made tier changes on are ones that would not force you into the donut hole, because they're really not the priciest meds when we're looking at tier 4 and the tier 5, which is the Medicare tier of medications. That's really where the donut hole comes in. Or if you unfortunately happen to be someone that needs to use a large amount of insulin, that seems to be relatively expensive, although almost all of the plans this year are offering that $35 copay for your prescriptions.
Easy to do. Just check it out. Give our office a call, 314-863-0008. Ask for Frank, or send us an email. Go to our website, jblfinancial.com. Click on the Contact Us section, or you can send an email, Franklin, Franklin, at jblfinancial.com.
February 3rd, I'm reaching full retirement age. No savings. $1,700 a pension for 6 more years.
Okay, what are you doing after 6?
Social Security income, $2,700 a month.
Okay.
Paid off condo, rental income of $725 a month.
Okay, so that's about $5,000 now. We're up to $5,000. Okay.
For 6 years, but then it's going to drop.
Okay.
$40,000 a year job.
I thought they're retiring. Okay.
Well,
if you only have a $40,000 a year job, then your net is probably somewhere in the area of about 16 to 50, which is about $1,400 a month. So by going on Social Security, you should be really mimicking that. So woohoo! Have a nice day.
Well, you said comments, so I guess those were your comments.
Well, I mean, I'm just thumbnailing this, but you figure if his gross is 20, his net is probably somewhere around 16. And that's basically $1,250 a month, right?
Sounds good to me.
Right. And so Social Security is running how much?
Social Security is going to be $2,700 a month.
Okay, so he's in a good place.
Right. Which
great.
Really means he could keep working or not.
Right. Now, 6 years from now, when that drops out, which means he'll have less disposable income, but his Social Security benefit is high enough where it should cover him out. And again, I would certainly suggest to our texter that because he doesn't have a cachet of retirement benefits, he might start thinking about, between now and when he quits,
taking the Social Security and banking it.
That would be good if he's old enough. Or B,
he is
starting to. I would do that, and I would either way. I would start banking some money just so you've got a backup, so that you can deal with what other contingencies, emergencies, or frankly fun stuff that's happening with retirement. The more, the merrier.
That's great.
Good. Okay. So that's a good one. Again, our phone line's open. We'd love to hear from you, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the pesky but open text line. We'd love to hear from you. I may have said this earlier, and if I did, I apologize for repeating myself. You do that sometimes when you have some timers, when you're 65 and older, etc. But, Aaron and I, we're licensed insurance agents. We're also licensed investment advisory representatives. We get paid by helping clients create and actually get a hold of financial products, whether it's creating an investment plan for them or helping them with their insurance needs. That's how we get paid. But the truth is, at least for me, the real fun is when people ask us into their lives. And really what they're doing is they're asking us financial questions, to help them enable their lives a little bit better. And I guess I'm telling you all this morning as a setup because sometimes people ask you questions that aren't really where they want to go. They kind of start in one way. They kind of start going towards San Diego, and they decide to come back. So let me share one with you. Joe and Sally are clients of ours, and they moved from Belleville to Naples, Florida about 5 years ago. And from all the discussions that I had with them up until yesterday, literally yesterday, it was like, woohoo, we're living.
Love Florida, we're living it up.
We're living, St. Louis Southwest, or Southeast, we're living the dream. It seems like a lot of people from St. Louis like Naples. We love the weather, etc. And we have other clients that are going to a place like Orlando where, the villages. We have a bunch of folks in the villages, and it's like the great weather and great golf for life.
The villages are like college
camp. It's camp. Okay. It's
there's alcohol, so it's like college.
Okay. Well, I visited with them on Thursday, and they basically said after 5 years, they're getting ready to move to Tennessee. And I'm like, okay.
But why?
Aaron used to say Tennessee, but yeah, you did. You didn't pronounce it right. So anyway,
was it one time we went there?
Yes. So they went, and I said to them, well, why do you want to slum? I mean, what's the point? You're in Florida. You're in heaven. You're in the Mecca. You're near the water. Beautiful weather, palm trees, hurricanes. I mean, why would you want to leave? And basically, Sally said, I'm sick of these 95-degree days. And I'm like, well, you used to live in Belleville. You should be very used to this. But in either case, it came out that they're looking for communities in Nashville. And I'm like, why are you going to Nashville? Well, Nashville is about 300 miles away from our daughter and our 2 grandchildren. They happen to be 2 years old and 3 months old. And they want to be near to them, but not close.
So they want to be 4 hours? Is that like 4-hour drive?
5.
5-hour drive.
Well, right.
So they want to be able to visit for a weekend, but not a day.
Yeah. And I'm, again, my mind is kind of, it's gyrating because everyone, it isn't surprising. The moment that I hear I had a grandchild, my next question is, when are you moving? People are moving close because those years, those, as I like to call it, grandma time, those years, that 10-year period is so precious and it's gone. And then, what happens is they can talk back and then you never see them again. So being there.
They can talk back.
That's what happens. They grow up, they can talk back to you, and then they, whatever. Then they go, they get into their teens, and what happens is they think they're smarter than you.
Well,
and you have to live with that for about 4 or 5 years. Then they go to college. They come back. A lot of them go to college. They come back. They're a little more grown up, and then they figure it out in that time that the parents weren't quite as dumb as they were, but they may be richer than they are, and so therefore they say, okay, can we move back into the basement, etc. But
Dad,
I'm just letting you know. I love you, honey. You never did that, but so I'm thinking to myself, really, I'm like, why do you want to be 3 hours away and
5 hours away?
5 hours away, and I'm talking to the husband. He says, "Well, he said, look, I just don't want to become the babysitter. I don't want. I mean, I want to be with these kids. I'd love to see them, but I don't want to be pulled in." Almost like, what is it, like Godfather 3, though? I was out and they pulled me back in. Right? They want to be parents again. They wanted to be.
They don't want to be
They wanted to be the fun grandma and grandpa.
So,
right?
You got an amen from the crowd.
I know that I did, and we have these conversations with clients. No, I mean, I have these conversations with clients all the time. Before I'm hating on them because they have grandchildren and I don't yet, but it's about boundaries. Have they had this conversation with their children about setting boundaries? We'll do this, we'll do that, we won't do this, we won't do that, we're not going to be your babysitter, whatever it is. We want to be here, we love you, etc. Mm-hmm. And I think that's real important. I mean, we know some folks don't, and what happens is they get their new job, which is they become the sitter, the babysitter, the caretaker, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And some really want to do that, and I can understand that, but I mean,
some do not.
And that's a grandma thing. Grandpas, they don't want grandpas. But
well, I think here's really where the financial part of things comes into play. Right?
Yes.
Which is, they're looking at buying something.
Yeah, they were 300 miles away. So I'm like, do you really want to be 300 miles away? Maybe you ought to have a conversation with your children first about what the
expectations.
And then the thing is, I wouldn't buy something anyways.
Right away.
Right away. I think it's important. Are you going to be on the right side of town? Where are the restaurants? Where's the gyms? Where are your doctors? Where's all this stuff? I mean, you can't know until you live there for a while and have a chance to actually, I like to say, stop being a tourist.
Right. Like which roads do you like to drive on? Like how close are you to the main thoroughfare that you frequent? Or
well, I mean, let's use a real simple example for those folks that are Missourians, St. Louisans.
Everybody lives in the best part of town here.
From 3 o'clock on, you don't want to go south on Highway 270.
Right.
I mean, you just don't want to do that. It's hell. Or going over the Poplar Street Bridge. I mean, if you can avoid these things, you kind of want to in many cases, unless you enjoy, listening to audiobooks in your car, which is kind of cool. But in this case, again, so, the thing was, should we buy, should we rent? The answer is, and at least to me, if I'm going to have a mortgage,
then
I'm paying the bank rent.
Right.
So am I really throwing money away? I don't think. Maybe this educational experience, whether it's a 3-month lease or a 6-month lease or a 12-month lease, gives you a chance to do a couple things. Number one is to say, hey, is this arrangement with the kids really working out? Yay or nay? Or number two,
do we even like Nashville? Like, do you even like it there?
I mean, the seasonality, you left Belleville for a reason because maybe there was snow, et cetera, et cetera. And then 3, it also gives you a chance to say, hey, are we living on the right side of town? So important.
Right. And also, I mean, we're not even factoring, and this completely disregards at the moment the worst housing market for both buyers and sellers in the last 10 years. The fact that interest rates are up to almost 8% at this point. The reality that at any point in time, real estate really is an illiquid asset. You have to find someone to buy it in order for you to extract your capital, or you're borrowing money from the bank in order to get at that capital again.
You're right, babe. And I didn't mention in this particular situation, they've been there for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
They own a condo in Naples.
Right.
They're making a boatload on if they were to sell this property.
Sure.
So why go from the frying pan back into the fire right away? Maintenance costs, stuff breaking, real estate taxes.
Also, wouldn't it be great?
Wouldn't it be great?
Wouldn't it be great?
Wouldn't it be great?
If you could go back to not having to be the one to call the HVAC company when something goes awry, or not having to deal with the outdoor maintenance of your house, or any number of things, plumbing, electric, things like that. You just get to call the maintenance man. They come over, fix it for you, usually no cost if you're renting, versus your mortgage plus all your other expenses. You really have to factor those things in when you're making that consideration, because some people have this ongoing perception that, renting is throwing money away. I could just be building equity into something. Well,
or my home is really valuable to anybody other than me. No, it's just no, it's true. I mean, I remember some time ago, and our listeners may remember if they've listened for a while, is that for a while I was doing some broadcast in the winter, not very long, maybe 2-3 weeks, etc. I'm from Tucson, Arizona, where I had a home. And I remember talking to you about this, and this was just, I think, was really in between the time that you were working somewhere else and before you joined me. And I remember saying, honey, if something happened to your mom and I, we both passed away, how long would you retain this home in Tucson? And it was in an active golf community. It was brand new.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And you said, well, Dad, as long as it took for me to walk to the phone and call the realtor to put it up for sale.
Got away with words, don't I?
Yes, you do. And an economy of words at that point. But it's really true. I mean, with most folks, most kids, they may remember the home that they were brought into, but they don't want to go back and live in there. They're going to get rid of it. So,
or especially if it happens to be, like, for example, Joe and Sally, they have a condo down in Florida. Now, maybe that's desirable because it's in a nice location, but there aren't childhood memories from that for their children. It's like where mom and dad went to retire, which is great, and I'm sure they're totally happy for their parents. But, you know, sometimes it just becomes a burden to have to sell things to liquidate the estate.
And kind of circling back here, when we were having this conversation with Sally, I asked her, I said, you know, you're looking more towards something that's has more seasonality to it. I said, what about Destin, the Redneck Riviera, as it's called, and which is obviously up in the Panhandle? She goes, I love Destin. Well, don't buy a home immediately. Let's check it out and see if this is really where you want to spend the next 10 years of your time. Mm-hmm. If not, you got your capital from the sale of your condo. You got your escape valve if you want to do this. Mm-hmm. So setting rules, setting boundaries with the kids is extremely important. Being there is precious. It's irreplaceable time. It's time that you'll never get back. And if it's an important thing for you to do, and I will tell you, virtually with every client we're trying to find out, we're either paying for grandma time. I mean, a lot of times it's sort of like, well, instead of flying back and forth with some clients, we've said, hey, let's go rent an apartment. So you can spend a week there or 2 weeks there or a month there, et cetera, so they can do their thing.
You also made a great point at the beginning, which is grandma and grandpa time is precious for the first several years, but then what happens when the grandkids turn 18 and they move off somewhere else? Do you really want to still be, in this example, Nashville? Or did you just move there to be closer for a certain amount of time? Now you've got another situation to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, but these are the fun things that we enjoy dealing with our clients. And it really started off as a, should I rent or should I purchase a home? But that really wasn't what it was about. What it really was about is, how can I create those boundaries? How can I facilitate what I want to do? And at the same time, do it in a way that doesn't financially handcuff me.
Right. Gives you flexibility and
which is choices. Kind of fun. So I think we're going to take our second break of the hour. When we come back, we're going to take your texts at 84126, your phone calls from 314-931-5877. And so do us a favor. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right
back. By popular demand, the best. Renewal by Andersen has extended their BOGO 50% offer. This is the last time this year to buy one window and get the second one 50% off. Hi, everybody. McGraw-Millhaven here for Renewal by Andersen. Now, let me say that again. Buy one Renewal by Andersen replacement window and get the second one at half off. Now, that's a great deal. These are Fibrix windows, and they're 2 times stronger than vinyl, and they come in 9 exterior color options. They have the nation's best warranty, plus Renewal by Andersen has no money down, no payments, no interest for 2 years. Renewal by Andersen has more 5-star reviews than any other full-service replacement window company. So, what are you waiting for? Energy prices are going up. You need energy-efficient Renewal by Andersen windows. Buy one, get the second one at 50% off, and pay nothing for 2 years. 1-877-WINDOWS. That's 1-877-WINDOWS. Or schedule online at rbastl.com.
Gas Appliance Service in the Fireplace and Grill Center can get your fires burning for the upcoming holidays. Call now and get ahead. New gas logs will make your home warm and inviting when you're entertaining or curled up on the sofa with a good book. See the beautiful burning displays at Gas Appliance Service near Westport, or the Fireplace and Grill Center, a quarter-mile east of 141 on the south side of Manchester Road. Don't wait. Now's the time for the best service, selection, and prices.
Are you suffering with symptoms of hemorrhoids? If so, it can be very hard to talk about and difficult to know who to turn to for help. But when the symptoms become too much, you don't have to suffer any longer. Midwest Hemorrhoid Treatment Center in Town and Country utilizes the latest in non-surgical treatments that are fast and effective with little to no discomfort. Midwest Hemorrhoid Treatment Center in Town and Country. You don't have to suffer in silence any longer.
Midwest Hemorrhoid Treatment Center. Don't suffer in silence.
This is Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email at aaron@jblfinancial.com to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Now, back to Straight Talk on Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Welcome back to Straight Talk on Retirement. It's 10:50 here on the Big 550 KTRS. We've got about 9 minutes left. We do have a couple of subjects we want to talk about, but our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. And we do want to thank everybody that called us last week, bunches of them, for Medicare coaching sessions as well as financial coaching sessions to see Aaron and I, which you can easily do by calling our office at 314-863-0008.
When we have plenty of time.
We have time, and there's not as much fun. Otherwise, we'd spend time with you. We'd love to.
I was going to say we have plenty of time in open enrollment, but Frank's schedule is filling. So definitely give a call if you'd like.
We're gonna give him oxygen. We don't care. You want to come in and see him? Let's go. Yeah, he's seeing about 5 to 6 people a day. It's great.
At minimum. Not to mention quick one-off phone calls, quick emails if you have just a quick question for him.
As your baby sister would say, I don't care.
We both have a way with words.
Yes, you do.
So did Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tom called, and he wants to know, what are the penalties from pulling money from my IRA? Tom is 62, so no penalties, just taxable income on each dollar withdrawn. Tom is actively working today. Income plans to do so until 67. So what do you want the money for?
That's the first question, right? What do you want the money for here? And basically, Tom said he decided that he would like to be debt-free as soon as possible. He's got a mortgage of about $300,000, and he's already he's agreed to repay about $80,000 of student loan debt for his son.
Very nice of him.
$80,000, that's a nice number.
Hefty chunk.
Dad. And he has about $13,000 in credit card debt left from home improvements that he made over the course of the last year or so.
You know, I was holding back from saying I don't like you that much, but I couldn't do it. It's true. I love you, honey. You know that.
$80,000 worth.
You don't have $80,000 of credit student loan debt.
You're right, because you already paid that for me.
Amen.
So Tom had already drained his emergency fund, which was about $60,000, to pay down things quicker.
And that was really, and what's interesting is that, you know, he mentioned that he should have called before he did this. He was really feeling guilty because it's like, you know, now I feel like I'm broke. Mm-hmm. Because I don't have any cash in the bank anymore.
Right.
But I still have these obligations, and they're still sitting out there.
And he, like Rob mentioned, he's still actively at work, but he's just not feeling like that income is going to be enough, essentially.
Yes.
To help continue to pay these debts down as well as, you know, his ongoing cash flow needs. So.
He's got it. So there's a process, right?
That's right. So, you know, we talked to him about almost like the hierarchy of debt, how we liquidate debt obligations in the most effective way possible. Which first is we want to rank the debt by the interest rate being charged. So a lot of people have the perception you want to deal with the highest dollar amount first. That's not necessarily the case. What you want to deal with first is the highest rate of interest being charged, because that's the most expensive money that you are borrowing.
Not only that, but generally, especially as in credit card debt, it also has the quickest maturity date or duration, which is why the payments are so high.
Right. So credit cards generally have a 1-year amortization schedule versus, you have your mortgages that could be 20 to 30 years. If you had home equity line of credit, that's 10 years.
Student loan debt's about the same.
Auto loan, 5 years. The second thing that you want to do is determine the minimum payment to each obligation. So what's your total debt service liability across all of your debts?
Right.
Then the next thing that you want to do in the process is determine how much of your net monthly income you can dedicate to paying down this debt.
I think that's real, and that's hard, but that's really important. So, coming up with a number that you can, and maybe you have, but you can commit to meet that goal.
Also, this is important because you don't want to accumulate more debt on the other side by doing this. So, for example, you want to determine, in Tom's case, he determined about $1,200 a month is what he could dedicate to his debt service. You don't want to also then be adding credit card debt to go out to dinner, to pay for other things, because you're just accumulating more on the back end. So this is to try to create a net neutral situation in your monthly income.
Right, and then really, is it possible to meet your 5-year goal of being debt-free? And frankly, is it necessary?
Right.
And that's a big one. And
because also, the goal doesn't have to be to get to zero by the time you retire. It could be that we've paid down a significant amount of this debt, so your $1,200 a month of debt service becomes far more valuable in terms of continuing to pay down the debt. Because if you think about it, we've created this hierarchy. You're paying at least the minimum payment to everything. Maybe you're able to throw a few extra dollars at that most expensive debt service. As the debt falls away, you can continue to make the $1,200 a month payment spread out across your remaining debts, which means just like when you're accumulating money, and the more you accumulate, bigger money makes bigger money. The more you're paying down, the faster it gets paid down. So it's like a ball rolling down the hill. Absolutely. It's going to pick up some momentum.
Robin, so what should the essence of this game plan look like?
You should concentrate on the credit cards first, because as Aaron said, you got a higher interest rate, shorter duration, pay off new monthly additions as they occur so you don't end up with something on the back end. And you should win this battle within 12 months at his current rate, his $13,000, putting in $1,200 a month.
Absolutely. And again, I would say that our client, Tom, has to realize, hopefully, that he really has 3 battles here. One with credit cards, one with his son's
student loan debt,
and then finally with his mortgage. Instead of trying to fight 3 fronts at once, we should really concentrate on one at a time. And Rob, obviously, I think, and I agree with you, that the credit cards have to be first. But what's the second one, babe?
Oh, maybe you have a chat with your son. He's working now, and maybe he could shoulder a portion of this burden. You can't, Tom can't handle this particular debt obligation at this time. So if he wants you as his banker in the future, maybe you need him to step in and help out a little bit today. And maybe once you've eliminated the credit card debt, you might be able to come in on the back end, help a little bit with the student loan debt.
I think you're right. And then, then finally is, will the cash flow in retirement be able to support a mortgage payment? I mean, if it's a yes, that's cool. Carry the debt. If the answer is no, you have one of two options. You either take more capital that you've created through your retirement accounts and use it to liquidate that debt, or the other alternative, you got to keep working to make those mortgage payments. Not easy choices, not easy decisions here, but that's one of the fun parts about being an advisor, being in a situation where we can advise folks, they call when it's needed, we can give them some, maybe open up their thinking to thoughts that they really didn't want to, frankly didn't have. It's all good. And it's easy to do. Just give us a call, 314-863-0008. Again, 314-863-0008. Or send us an email, Jeff or Aaron at jblfinancial.com. The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Be listening next week at 9 for more Straight Talk on Retirement with your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus, on the Big 550 KTRS.